Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Stacy Spivey here with Lauren Coleman, Monique Robinson, and Eric Chilton.
Yeah, happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to the 4 to 5 here on WFNY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFNY News 2 app. Lots to talk about. We're going to jump into our top story for today. Russia and Ukraine both say they are ready to resume talks to end fighting. But for now, nothing has been scheduled and the assault on Ukraine continues. The Russian military has intensified its bombardment of major cities across Ukraine. In Kharkiv, Russian missiles heavily damaged a government building. Just 80 miles west of the capital, firefighters battled a blaze in the aftermath of a suspected Russian airstrike. The mayor said the target was a residential building near a hospital. At least 4 people died, including a young child. President Biden had some tough words for Russia last night during his first State of the Union. He vowed to make President Vladimir Putin pay a price for his invasion of Ukraine.
Instead, he thought he could divide us at home, in this chamber, in this nation. He thought he could divide us in Europe as well. But Putin was wrong.
At the United Nations in New York, the General Assembly approved a resolution demanding Russia withdraw from Ukraine. It came after the 193-member assembly convened its first emergency session since 1997. More than 800,000 people have fled the fighting in Ukraine, but some refugees say they're facing racism at the borders. Students and professionals from Africa, Asia, and the Middle East say they're being held back from boarding trains out of Ukraine to make space for Ukrainians. Refugees say some taxi drivers are price gouging, charging hundreds of dollars to move people out of harm's way. The UN Secretary General says there should be no discrimination and that all people of all races are at risk. 2 years of dealing with the pandemic has been especially hard on children and teens. And now many are worried and they're asking questions about the war in Ukraine. Laura Podesta has more on how parents can approach these difficult conversations.
16-year-old Ava Felice and classmates gathered around the TV in their high school law class watching President Biden speak about the war in Ukraine.
We're like, oh my gosh, what's happening right now? Like, this is crazy. It's just another thing to be added onto the list.
The New Jersey teen says from school threats to COVID and now Ukraine, it's been a stressful time.
As a teenager, it's hard to see like what my next step will be because I don't know what the next step of the world is going to be.
Navigating how to talk to children about what's going on can be tough for parents.
What they really need to know, especially for younger kids, pre-adolescents, is that people do have wars. They have disagreements, but it's a place that is far, far away.
Cleveland Clinic pediatric psychologist Dr. Vanessa Jensen says parents should shield younger children from disturbing images. For teens, ask questions about what they know.
I want to keep you safe because you're my child, but I also want to talk to you. I want to learn from you. I want to learn with you. If they start talking about, are we going to have war here? The older the child, the more honest you can be. I hope not, but I can't guarantee you that in your lifetime, you'll never have a war.
I also think we have to trust our kids that as much as we want to shelter them, they're a lot more resilient, I think, than sometimes we realize, and a lot more knowledgeable.
I just really wish that there was more information out there that was accessible to us, or that more adults would tell us, what's going on. Our generation is stronger and more resilient and more empathetic than a lot of adults may think.
And Ava believes her generation will make this world better. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Yeah, a lot of families grappling with this. Dr. Jensen also says taking action can help children understand what is going on around them. For example, families can make a card for someone in the military or pray for the safety of Ukraine.
Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Don't be alarmed if you see smoke in the air in Greensboro. The fire department is conducting a live fire training on Fuller Street until 5 o'clock. Heavy amounts of smoke may be present in the area, but should not pose hazards to the public. They have been out there training since about 8 o'clock this morning. Fitbit is recalling almost 2 million Ionic smartwatches because the lithium-ion battery can overheat, posing a burn hazard. They were sold at several retailers, including Best Buy, Kohl's, and Target, as well as online from September 2017 through December 2021. Consumers were urged to stop using the smartwatches and contact Fitbit for a refund. Cone Health's new primary care center opened in Greensboro today. Cone Health Primary Care at Drawbridge Parkway is designed to combine care with wellness. It features behavioral health and sports medicine care inside the practice, as well as 13 other distinct services working together to help patients.
Well, the ACC Women's Basketball Tournament, it is underway right now at the Greensboro Coliseum. The tournament will feature all 15 ACC teams in 14 different games. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey joins us live with all the action.
Yeah, guys, it's day one of the Women's ACC Tournament here at the Greensboro Coliseum. And as the teams battle it out inside for the right to be named tournament champions, earlier in the day, I spoke with Chris Robbins, who told me this tournament is equally as important to the small businesses in our area.
First time we decorated ACC was in '88, and it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And then consistently, off and on, up through '99, and then since '99, we've decorated every year, the men or the women's and the NCAA, whatever they've had here in Greensboro.
Chris Robbins is the owner of CarolinaBalloons.com. To him, the ACC tournament is the most important event of the year.
It's just good to be here, good to be with people, good to see the tournament, things getting back to normal a little bit, because it affected so many people. The people that work here, the people the players. I mean, how does it affect them? It's just good to see things coming back around again.
As rumors circulate about the ACC possibly pulling out of Greensboro, Chris has a special message for the powers that be.
I get to decorate and do events all over the country. I'm in a lot of arenas, a lot of event centers. Nobody does it as good as Greensboro.
And game one of the day has already wrapped up as Clemson has advanced to the second round. And right now, it's about halftime of the Duke-Pitt game. But at 6:30, no worries, if you want to come on out, there's plenty of tickets available. We've got Wake Forest taking on Virginia, and we'd love to see you out here.
I'm inviting you into the weather lab this afternoon. So as meteorologists, we classify winter as December, January, and February. So I'm taking a look back at the months of those winter months to see how did we do in the triad. Well, we were in fact on average 2.6 degrees warmer than our average December, January, and February. And that's when we talk about temperatures. Now, also looking back at rainfall, we were quite wet. I mean, January and February, very wet months compared to what we usually get this throughout the winter season. Now, December was significantly dry, but as a whole, including the months of December, January, and February, we were much wetter, 0.6 inches more rain than what we generally get during the season. Now we're transitioning into spring, and it seems as though the temperatures are agreeing with that. Over the last couple of days, we've just been on this upward roller coaster ride right into the 60s, and today a lot of folks feeling even 70s. This is a look at your highs for today. 72 in Greensboro, 74 in Lexington, and Boone, not too bad at a 60. But tomorrow, guess what? More folks feeling the 70s, but not for too long, as the weekend does call for more 50s. But guess what? When we get to next week, we bounce back to the 70s. I know, it's like, what's going on? I got you. The 7-day coming up before the 4 p.m. hour ends.
Mo, thank you. Well, we're halfway through the work week, but some days you might just not be feeling it, right? This kid found a way to make the case of Mondays feel just a little bit better. The moment was all caught on the family security camera. 4-year-old Landry King overcome with the preschool Monday blues. Poor guy.
I just had to put on my mask. So if I did like this, just so tired, I laid on the ground.
When he's really tired, he gets a bit grumpy, and then he gets way over dramatic.
I saw somebody comment that growing up was learning how to do that in your head instead of in physical form, and that's exactly right.
He's got it right. I do that in the newsroom all the time. I
just drop to the ground. There you go. Nice, LC. Nice. That's Monday, Lauren. That's Monday, Lauren, right there.
Yeah.
And Wednesday, Lauren, today.
Yeah, that's literally everyday Stacy these days.
It cracked me up because they said, bless his heart, he's what, 4, right? They said he's 4 years old. He was fumbling with his glasses, couldn't get his mask on. He just gave up and went down to the ground.
Sometimes you got to do that. You just head out to the car, sit in there, lean back the chair, have a little breather,
I'm gonna start doing that right
go
in the
back in the door. Yeah, just fall out. That's going to be our thing, the 4 to 5 thing, when we're feeling the blues.
No, what we do at the end of the show when they go, okay, the 5 o'clock news is next, boom, all of us just drop
to the ground.
It's hilarious. All right, we'll talk to you on Facebook, and we're going to take a short break. Be right back. lot. So there's a pretty unusual exhibit at the Green Hill Center for North Carolina Arts turning heads these days. It's all about how precious our natural resources are and what we need to know about them. I spoke with Edie Carpenter of the Art Museum just to find out what this is all about. Edie, thanks for taking time out today. So when I heard about this, I thought, what a cool idea. Tell me about the concept and what people can expect when they get there.
Well, H2O is an exhibition that we have had in the planning for 2 years now. It includes site-specific installations, photography. We have salt drawings, floor pieces made out of recycled bottles and ocean trash. It's just a kind of multi-sensory exhibition of 7 artists who are addressing the questions of accessibility and preciousness of water.
I think it's interesting that, to use art as a way to get people to be stewards of the environment. This is a great kind of entryway, and you might reach people maybe that you wouldn't normally reach when you're trying to do this type of topic.
Artists are always on the forefront of creating and addressing the values of a given culture. And these artists really have been thinking about water, the preciousness, the difficulty that we are having today with maintaining access to water, the beauty of water, the streams, the oceans that our state, North Carolina, is so blessed with, to have all these different rivers, streams, and the ocean all in one state.
Well, Edie, this sounds wonderful. Can't wait to get out there, plus that huge plastic waterfall. What a cool idea. Thanks for spending time with us today. And speaking of that waterfall, we're going to show you that in the second half hour of the show today. That was really interesting. But all of this is A, all North Carolina artists, which we love. And then B, it's all about being a good steward for the environment, in particular talking about our water resources and how precious that is for all of us.
I love the idea of using art to like save the world. You know, there is so much power through art. It gets people drawn in, gets their attention. So I'm excited to see this waterfall.
And some of the photography, now I haven't seen this part yet, but she says some of the photography is underwater, but the way they took it looks like a painting. So I can't wait to see this.
I'm always amazed by what artists can do.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that they can think of in their head, whether they're visual artists or even musical artists, like they just have so much creativity, and I'm very jealous of that.
Yeah, they see what we can't see.
Exactly. They see things differently.
A very different way. All right, we'll be right back. Stay there. Scorda said you messed something up in the lighting grid, so he's checking it out. Because you messed up more than the lights, you messed up all the internet too. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're on Facebook, that is Jeff Scorda on the left, Kevin Lipford on the right, checking out some lighting issues. I was blaming it on our director, but it's not true.
What light is it?
Well, we're never sure if Brad had a hand in it, but at this point, sources say no.
Temperatures going up on a Wednesday. 70s for you in Greensboro, 72 the current temperature. Winds out of the west-southwest at 10 miles per hour. They've been fairly breezy throughout the day, but here's what you need to know over the next couple of days. Well, first and foremost, spring is in the air. We do get a cloudy cool down after tomorrow. So tomorrow, in fact, will be a copy and paste forecast to today. So temperatures once again by the afternoon reaching the 70s with plenty of sunshine, but by Friday we will plummet back down into the 50s, but that's actually where we should be for this time of year. Breezy at times over the next couple of days, and then once again we rebound up into near the 80s with rain for the early part of next week. Tonight temperatures dropping down to 47, so not necessarily below average, or be below, at least below freezing, excuse me. So we're going to be very warm tonight, and then look at that 74, kind of the palindrome, 47 to 74. We're going to be very warm by tomorrow afternoon. I haven't shown the 7-day, but a gift to you for this second hit. You can see those temperatures cooling down by Friday, bouncing back to much warmer numbers for the early part of next week. But take notice also how there are rain chances now on the forecast for the early part of next week. We haven't seen rain, and tomorrow not expecting it either, but soon we will, and you will need that umbrella as temperatures fall and the rain returns.
What lesson can we learn from frogs? Today on U-Day, Coach Lamont shares a story of one frog's persistent will to not give up.
A group of frogs were traveling through the forest when two of them fell into a deep pit. When the other frogs saw how deep the pit was, they told the two frogs that there was no hope left. They should just give up. However, the two frogs ignored them and proceeded to try to jump out of the pit. Despite their efforts, the group of frogs at the top of the pit told them to just give up. Eventually, one of the frogs took heed of what he was listening to, and he just jumped and died. The other frog continued to jump. The frogs continued to tell him to give up, but he ignored them, and eventually he made it out. Once out, the frog said, "Did you not hear us?" The frog explained to them that he was deaf, and all that time he thought that they were simply encouraging him. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best U-Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Now that is a word. Use your haters as your motivators. That's what I got from that.
Perfect. Well, it's like, you know, the power of cheering someone on, you know, the power of having a support group.
I don't know if I got through the message today. All I thought about was frogs, and I was like, where's this going with frogs? But, you know, I mean, Coach Lamont always pulls through in the end, and with what you guys said, now I understand.
Now
I was just a little focused on, you know,
there.
little green frogs.
I like this message because the surprise ending. I love the stories when they kind of twist it up at the end, and then you realize that he kind of misinterpreted something, but took a negative and made it a positive.
Absolutely. Ignore the noise and keep doing you. You know, I got you guys.
Always with the sage advice. We'll be back.
What I see is they see opportunity. They see a sense of belonging. They see acceptance. If he can do it, I can do it.
Inspiring words from Greensboro History Museum's education curator Rodney Dawson as he describes Joe Dudley. He was a multimillionaire who owned Dudley Products, a hair product company started in Greensboro. Dudley Products sells over 100 different types of hair products to serve differing Black hair needs.
It's supporting the business, but it's also supporting someone who can actually help you because your hair is not the same.
Hair conditioner, permanent relaxers, facial creams, you name it, they sell it.
He wanted to pass something on to his family, and his granddaughter or his daughter?
His daughter.
That's running it today?
Yeah.
I mean, we expanded internationally.
Ursula Dudley Oglesby. She now runs the company. She's been around her entire life.
So this is the beginning. August 1967, that's my parents. Yes. When they first started the company. So it's just so exciting.
When the business started, it wasn't in a warehouse. They housed production in the family kitchen.
Child, I was like, oh my goodness, they're making that stinky stuff. That's what I, as a child. And little did I know where that product would bring me today.
Right, wow. Dudley Products is bigger than hair. Since 1967, Dudley ran a cosmetology university, a magazine, hotel, travel agency, a cosmetic line, a broadcast network, and 9 beauty schools.
Natural hair products that we introduced. Then we went virtual.
Dudley Oglesby says her father's marketing strategy back then was to keep Black dollars in Black communities. Fast forward today, that strategy is the same.
We don't sell our products in stores or beauty supply stores or anything like that. We sell them direct to the cosmetologists and the barbers and the beauty schools so that money can stay in our community a little bit longer.
There was so much to her story that I couldn't include in this, but one thing that was so fascinating, guess who she went to school with? She went to Harvard.
Who?
Barack Obama was in her
Whoa.
graduating class.
Oh, wow.
So if you ever go back and look at the photos of when Barack Obama was graduating, she's like standing beside him.
Oh my
That
goodness.
is really awesome.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So amazing. I love that end quote that she said, making sure that, they don't sell it to retailers, but they sell straight to barbers and to local shops so that money stays local within the community. And I love that about this company.
Yeah, I have met her before and some members of the family, and I'm telling you right now, she is brilliant, by the way. I mean, I know you say she goes to Harvard, she's smart, but she's just a brilliant person.
It's someone that a lot of us can learn from, for them to have like just these products, and it's grown to like all these beauty schools and then big magazine spreads. That's really inspirational.
I was like, is there any way I can get a part of this family?
Yes, I was like, wow.
Definitely
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, making changes in the triad. That's incredible. Monique, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Hello. Hi, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together.
Happy Hump Day, everyone, and welcome back. I'm Lauren Coleman with Stacey Spivey, Monique Robinson, and E. Chile.
Hello.
Oh, Chile. I like it. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on the 4 to 5 on WFMY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and of course the News 2 app for your TV, phone, or tablet. We're also on Facebook, so go ahead and join us on that live stream now. Let's go ahead and get to our top story this half hour. And what has become a tradition for presidents, President Biden is heading out to sell the American public on the items laid out in last night's State of the Union address.
During the hour-long speech, President Biden laid out what he called a unity agenda in hopes of building bipartisanship in Congress. Included in that is fighting the opioid epidemic, improving mental health, giving veterans better health care, and cutting the death rate from cancer.
We are stronger today than we were a year ago. And we'll be stronger a year from now.
President Biden also argued that his economic policies will lower inflation. He wants to cut the cost of prescription drugs, lower energy costs, and cap that households' child spending for their care. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds delivered the Republican response.
The president's approach to foreign policy has consistently been too little, too late.
President Biden traveled to Wisconsin today to tout the infrastructure law Congress passed last year.
Meanwhile, the White House is unveiling President Biden's new coronavirus response strategy. The 96-page plan, which would require funding from Congress, describes how to avoid business and school shutdowns, battle the virus abroad, and prepare for new variants.
These expedited plans and processes will help us reach our goal that updated vaccines can be developed, approved, and manufactured in approximately 100 days.
Face masks are still required on public transportation, including air travel. Officials plan to review the federal transportation mandate, which is set to expire March 18th. The new strategy comes as our COVID metrics approach the state's goal. Check out the state's percent positive. The latest number is at 5.6%. It's just a hair above the state's goal of 5%, which is that red line on your screen. In fact, the last few days have hovered around the red line. Today is the 8th consecutive day that the state's number has been below 10%. Our next target is to actually hit the goal, and we haven't seen a day of 5% or lower since late November, more than 3 months ago. The FDA has issued a do not use warning for another COVID-19 test, saying it has not been authorized for use in the U.S. and could provide false results. The warning is for the FlowFlex SARS-CoV-2 antigen rapid test from Acon Laboratories. It's at least the third such warning issued for coronavirus test this year. Hawaii plans to lift its COVID-19 quarantine requirement for travelers at the end of the month. That means people arriving from other places in the U.S. won't have to show proof of a vaccination or a negative test. Non-U.S. citizens and those not traveling to the U.S. on an immigrant visa must be fully vaccinated as well as show proof of a negative COVID-19 test. Hawaii is the only U.S. state to implement a coronavirus quarantine program of this kind.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell told lawmakers on Capitol Hill the Federal Reserve still plans to begin a series of interest rate hikes this month as it tries to rein in soaring inflation. Powell's testimony comes as the national average for a gallon of gas is nearly $1 more than it was last year. That's according to AAA. Recent federal data shows used car prices are up more than 40%. Eggs are at 13% higher, and electricity is up almost 11%. We've heard about a spike in gas prices due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, but how about a spike in beer prices? Ukraine is one of the top 5 producers of barley, a key ingredient in beer. Larger beer manufacturers don't expect a huge impact, but some of the smaller breweries could say prices could see a high increase of 50 cents or even $1 increase per pint. North Carolina has started processing 2021 tax year returns. The delay is due to the approval of the state budget, which included multiple tax law changes. Students from Williams High School in Alamance County are ready to help you file your taxes. The student accountants completed training through the Internal Revenue Service Volunteer Individual Tax Assistance Program and will help people after school through March. For more information, call the Alamance County United Way office. Vice President Kamala Harris spent part of the day in Durham to talk to the community about investment in workers. Harris, along with Governor Roy Cooper, toured an apprentice program at Durham Technical Community College.
Earlier this week, 30 people were displaced after an apartment fire in High Point. The fire chief there says, unfortunately, one of the pets that was living in that apartment complex passed away because of the fire. Many other pets were rescued. It's stories like this that continue to inspire a local nonprofit to put pet oxygen masks on every fire truck in Forsyth County.
You know, God and your dog love you unconditional.
An unconditional kind of love that runs deep in the Hammonds household, with dogs and cats that once included Lacey.
Within about 2 weeks, she felt the love in our home, and she knew that she was never going to be hurt again.
Kathy Tilly Hammond says they saved Lacey from an abusive home, but sadly were unable to save her from a fire that destroyed their Forsyth County home in 2007.
My house is material things, and it was replaced, but she could never be replaced because she was a little living being, you know.
Firefighters on scene only had an oxygen mask for humans, too big for Lacey's little face. Her story inspiring the nonprofit organization Forever Friends to raise money to make sure every fire truck in Forsyth County has a pet oxygen mask. 1 year after the Hammonds house fire, they made it happen.
Over time, in the use of those masks, they've kind of degraded and they just needed to be replaced. And that's what we're doing right now.
Now, nearly 15 years later, they're trying to raise $10,000 to make sure every Forsyth County fire truck has 2 sets of pet oxygen masks. Founding member Jennifer Tierney says they want to continue to give comfort to people like Hammonds.
And it's heartbreaking, even if everybody, including the animals, get out of the fire safely. But what if you lose one of those animals? That just adds more trauma to what is already an extremely traumatic event.
If it saves one animal, it's worth however many thousands that it cost.
Now, they need your help in raising this money, and if you're interested in donating, we have all the information on this story on our website. So this is for Forsyth County Fire, this is for Winston-Salem City Fire, and also Kernersville. So this would be on every single fire truck, and different size masks, because you got to think one that would fit a 5-pound dog would not fit my dog who's 100 pounds. So.
And they're halfway there with the funding?
Less than half.
A little less than half.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a great investment because pets are animals. They're like our children. They are family members. So imagine having a toddler that was stuck in a fire. It's the same thing. So in order to have these, to save these pets and these animals, I think that's amazing.
You know, it's funny. I never knew that they wouldn't be there. You know, I just thought they'd have one, or at least one.
I never thought about it till you pitched the story this morning, and I was like, wow, that's something I just hadn't thought about.
Yeah, pets can suffer from smoke inhalation just like humans can. So I hope that they can get 2 on every truck, and that is their goal. So you can help out. Go to our website to find this story.
Very good. All right, let's see what's happening with the forecast.
Well, on quiet days like this, I love opportunities to teach you a little bit more about the weather. So these clouds that you're seeing over Wake Forest University are what we call cirrus clouds. They're way high up in the sky, and they kind of look like an extremely stretched out cotton ball. And we call those cirrus clouds. They're made of ice, and they're way high up there, but they don't really block us too much from getting to see that blue oasis of skies that we've been able to dabble in all week long for the most part. Our temperatures have been warm, and our skies have been filled with sunshine, but that will change as we go into the weekend. I've jumped ahead a little bit into this case scenario of what we can expect to see. Starting Friday morning, we're looking at dry conditions, but you can see that burst of light rain possible on Saturday. Then as we go towards the end of the weekend, so Sunday transitioning into Monday, that's when a cold front approaches our area and brings in a greater chance for rain Monday night going into Tuesday. Now this is one case scenario. That could change as we get closer and closer in time to your Monday start date, but to kind of give you idea of when you can expect rain again. I know a lot of folks planning for the weekend always worried, what is Saturday and Sunday going to be like? And I believe it's never too early to talk about the weekend. So we have wind gusts that we've been seeing across the area today between 15 and 20 miles per hour. Same story again for tomorrow and on Friday. Winds get really gusty Saturday and Sunday, 25 25 to even 30 miles per hour, all ahead of that cold front. And you can see cold fronts, they do their magic. I mean, they help to really drop temperatures. We're seeing it twice on this 7-day forecast. Cold front crosses Thursday, cools us down Friday. Cold front crosses again Monday, cools us down for the middle part of next week.
All right, let me set the scene for you. You're eating out one of your favorite seafood places, and then all of a sudden, you bite down on something you were not expecting.
When I picked it up with the fork, it looked kind of heavy, but I didn't think nothing of it. And then when I started to eat it, I noticed something was in my mouth. I actually thought one of my teeth broke.
Ooh, okay, so what did the man bite down on? It's actually something of value.
Well, I already knew, so I'm not going to say.
Do we know what he was eating? We don't know what he was eating.
Seafood restaurant, that should help you.
A pearl.
It was.
Oh, was it?
The
Oh.
unidentified object
Nice.
was, let's change it so you can see it, a pearl.
Oh, wow.
There was a perfectly formed pearl in his clam/oyster, whatever shellfish he was eating.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Mhm.
That's the only thing I
Okay.
can think of that would be valuable, that you could.
Right.
So I want to know, what did he do with it?
Oh, well, this is a good answer. So this restaurant that the couple has is a very special place to them. They come every single year on President's Day. This was actually the 34th year they had been there eating there on President's Day.
Wow.
I'm just curious, does anybody have a place that's like that for their family, like a place that they always go?
We have a seafood restaurant in Wilmington. We always go to Dock Street Oyster Bar. It's like Leslie and I did that when we were dating and said we still do it every time we're in Wilmington.
Okay.
Not one that I can think of. We like to mix it up a little bit.
Yep.
Every time I'm home in Arkansas, I go to this one restaurant that's my absolute favorite. So anytime it's like a reunion, when I get to see my friends and family, we go there.
Gotcha. And I always go to this one particular bakery when I go to see my grandmother. It's called Vicky Bakery. And they have the best guava cream cheese pastries ever known to man. So, but anyway, I digress. So what do you do with that pearl, like Stacy said? All right, you have it made into something.
I would like to have it set into a nice piece of jewelry, maybe with a mermaid or something nautical.
Something for her.
As a beautiful remembrance of that day and what we have is so special.
All right, so all of this got me thinking about the shellfish industry here in North Carolina, because that story was out of New Jersey. This info is from NC State. Our state is divided up into 3 districts for oyster harvesting, and in each one you have wild oysters and farm harvested oysters. And all of the numbers, if you take a look, they're in the millions. All right, so North Carolina's shellfish industry has a $27 million impact and sustains 532 jobs directly. Mariculture, or like marine culture as in farming of marine organisms, let me say that, is expected to grow to 33 million by 2030. Now, the biggest enemy of this industry, it's hurricanes. Hurricane Florence, for instance, cost millions in shellfish gathering property loss and product loss, and hurricane season, remember, rolls around again June 1st.
Welcome back. You know, we all know that water is one of our most precious resources, and most of us kind of take that for granted. But one artist decided to make us aware of this problem through her art. Bryant Holzenbeck treated this project a little differently and collected pieces of what would be her final piece as she strolled along our waterways and back roads. Here's part of my conversation with her. Hey Bryant, this is so cool. When I saw the imagery of your particular work of art for this exhibit, so interesting. Tell me about the background and how you came up with the concept.
Well, I am an environmental artist these days, but I began years back as a basket maker, and I was hunting and gathering. And what I discovered when I hunted and gathered for natural materials is how many, way too many man-made materials were out in the environment. And so I thought I need to do something with these man-made throwaway materials. And so I began, and over time, there are just more and more of them. But I learned to make art using the materials and hopefully to transform them in a way that people would think a little bit about, where did all these water bottles come from? Where did all these bottle caps come from? And they come from us.
Your particular piece, I'm assuming we're seeing that behind you, correct?
There are two parts. There's the waterfall out of plastic bottles called Where Is Your Water Falling? And then in the gallery is a river and a stream containing all those bottles, plus a lot of marine elements, found non-biodegradable marine elements such as monofilament, old shoes, all the things that are in the ocean that don't belong there.
You know, it really is. It's probably eye-opening for you as an artist when you started finding all this and just going, I can't believe the amounts of mess that is out there.
Yeah. And also, and I know this is true, that I see it all the time because I'm training myself, but I think we train ourselves not to see it because it's unpleasant. And so when people say, where did you get all this stuff? I never see that. It's like, well, you're lucky, but it's right there.
That makes total sense. We love your work. It's fabulous. Thank you so much for being a part of this exhibition. So when you go in, that's a mat. I don't know if you see the scale, but she had to go on a scissor lift to get up to the top to put it in. So this waterfall is massive. And I think, if I remember the number correctly, it was like 10,000 pieces of things that she gathered. Wow. So she goes out by the waterways and picked all that stuff up. So she's helping pick up trash at the same time and then converting it into art to teach us.
So it wasn't all water bottles? At least that's what it looked like.
Yeah, mostly water bottles and plastics of some sort. But she wanted the colors to look like water, so there's a lot of white and blue.
But isn't that crazy that all that trash she found was like close to our waterways? But I'm glad that she repurposed it and made it into something beautiful that we can all appreciate.
Yeah, it made me think of the Greensboro Science Center, how they have that seahorse in there that's made of all the different bottle caps.
You gotta go check it out.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Green Hill Center's in Greensboro downtown. We'll be back.
The ACC Women's Basketball Tournament is back in Greensboro, and so are the 15-team mascots. They spent the afternoon downtown going into several stores, getting people revved up for today's matches.
We've all had a tough couple of years with COVID and among other things that have gone on. And so to see the faces of folks stopping the mascots, taking pictures, the business owners saying, hey, come into my shop, it was awesome to see. And it just speaks to the level of partnership between Greensboro, the Triad, and the ACC.
So cool there. So I had heard that they were going to be downtown, but I couldn't get down there at that particular time. People go crazy when mascots walk by. Have you ever noticed how it's almost like you're handing them a little baby and they always go crazy? They get so excited and get their pictures with it.
I used to be afraid of them.
I was going to say, there are a lot of kids that are scared.
If I was like 3 and was downtown in Greensboro, I would have tipped over my stroller and been acting crazy.
Ran the other way.
All right, so I asked you on Facebook, what's the most unusual mascot you've ever heard of? I love these. Cindy just said they're the Burlington sock puppets, which is one of my favorites. I love that. Erica said, now it used to be, Tulane was the green wave. And I always thought, what do you do with that? Like a bowl of green water. But now they have Riptide, who was a pelican. Angela says that Stanford tree. I agree with that one. Melanie said there's a school in northern Indiana that has a wishing well as a mascot. Yes. And then Bill said there's a place called, I guess the city or the town or the high school is Polka, P-O-C-A, and they're the polka dots.
That's really
so
cute.
The wishing well, is it just a well that walks around or a bucket that walks around?
I Googled and I couldn't find it anywhere. But yeah, I guess, I mean, what would that be?
We're the wishing wells.
It'd be a person with a costume on.
Okay, I have to tell y'all, in Arkansas, there's a team. They're the boll weevils, which is a little tiny bug that eats cotton plants. And then my friend went to high school, and theirs was the goats.
The goats.
The billy goats.
So I've heard of the Wofford Terriers. I think that's South Carolina. I'm trying to think of what
There's
else.
another one, the artichokes.
Really?
And their mascot is Artie the artichoke.
It's an artichoke?
Yeah, I think it's a community college out in Arizona.
Way to promote healthy eating.
Good one.
Yeah, if you look at minor league baseball teams, they have the absolute best mascots because
They really do.
Crazy.
The disco turkeys.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's
right.
right here in our backyard.
That's so funny. All right, we'll take a short break. My 2 cents is coming up next.
Needed to be closer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh my gosh, no distancing happening in the studio. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado.
Just to let y'all know, I can't get into my iPad or anything else, so I don't have any way to look at scripts.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check 1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3.
It's a beautiful day here at the Greensboro Coliseum. It's a beautiful day here at the Greensboro Coliseum, and we're halfway through day 1
It's time for my 2 cents. Russia's invasion of Ukraine sent shockwaves around the world. Images of the conflict continue to surface across the internet and on our TV screens. Though this tragedy is happening on the other side of the globe, it's causing fear and anxiety for many of us. The uncertainty of what is to come is troubling. We're already dealing with a global crisis as it is, the COVID-19 pandemic. The last 2 years have been stressful enough, with the loss of loved ones, jobs, and for some, peace of mind. Just when COVID cases begin to plummet and we can start to breathe a sigh of relief, the tragedy in Ukraine is added to the mix. Life will never be perfect, but when will things start to calm down? Is there really light at the end of the tunnel? Questions I ask myself daily. It's during these times it's important to lean on faith and be there for our neighbors in Eastern Europe. Whether that means giving what you can financially to assist refugees in Ukraine or praying for those in crisis. Just like the COVID-19 pandemic, we will get through this together. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
ACC women's basketball is back in Greensboro. A look at the first day of tournament action.
A downtown parking deck has been under construction for years when you could finally see it open. Plus,
all it would take is, a single strike to sort of disable that train line.
a North Carolina